introduce you to the owner of the business, which is Allstate Concrete, who's going to be doing the work on this project. This is Steve Bodway. We'll let him kind of introduce himself real quick. Then he's going to get to work with his team, square it up. It's actually already square first time. We got to square first time, 64 feet on both corners. It was perfect. I just walked around with him. So we'll let Steve kind of introduce himself and talk about his business. And if you guys are looking for concrete work, he's in Lower Alabama near Dothan area. So if you need work there, or probably the Panhandle of Florida, I'm sure you're licensed there too still.
Yeah.
So we'll let him talk about himself.
All right. Well, we're here with Caleb doing a 40 by 50 slab. He's already pretty well leveled it out with his Bobcat. He did a good job on it. Him and his sidekick.
Yeah.
Proud of him too.
Jonathan behind the camera.
And pretty much we're gonna frame it up today, get it leveled out, hopefully start on some footers, because he got 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot 6 piers going in there. So he's got quite a bit of steel that's got to go in. Other than that, we've been doing it for about 26 years. And if anybody needs anything done, you can either get a hold of him on his website or get a hold of me. There's my number right there, and that's the business logo.
I'll also put the number in the description below, as well as his name, contact information, and his business name on there as well. So if y'all need to call him or need some concrete work, phone number will be linked down below. All right, so the concrete guys just left. It's the most they could do today was frame it, because just the weather has been terrible. They don't want to go to dig those footers and they fill up with rain, because they would fail inspection. They got to have an inspector come up here before they pour, I guess, since I'm within city limits. But they got it framed and squared up, and they're gonna have to fill, whenever they make the footers and dig the footers, I think they're 12 by 12 all the way around for the building. They're gonna take that dirt they get and they're gonna push it back to the corners and fill up and level it out. So that's where we're at. I don't want to put this stuff in the way and run all this stuff, because that's just going to get in the way of the tractor when the tractor comes in here and pushes all that dirt to the corner. So we're going to go finish starting up Fat Tony. I don't know if you guys have seen that video yet. You may have seen it, may have not, but we're about to go start up Fat Tony for the first time, make that video. And if we already had the shop, we wouldn't have had to stop working on Fat Tony. We could have just pulled the Fat Tony into the shop and we would have been able to work all day. So that's the plan, guys. This day is a perfect example. I'm losing a lot of time on being able to work on stuff. That's why I need a shop, because no matter what the weather, I need to be able to go in there and get work done. And when that dump truck is so tall it won't fit in the garage, that's the problem. And we're getting the shop to fix it. So catch up with you guys in a couple days when we pour. We'll see you then. So today was the last day of prep. They just got done compacting the ground, finishing the footers, finishing the holes for the columns to go in. They put the moisture barrier for the concrete, and then in a couple days they'll come back to pour. So what we just did, me and Jonathan off camera, this is our water line right here, and we just 90'd it up. And conduit. We're gonna run our electricity through this conduit. We got a string where we can just tie to our wire and just pull it all the way through. So all that's gonna be underneath the concrete. We got rebar in here. These are 12-inch, or it's a footer, obviously, 12-inch footer. Get it. So rebar is with it. We got the stands for the rebar to keep them elevated, to keep and make sure the weight of the building doesn't crack the concrete. And check out these holes, guys. So the columns are going to be, I think it's 2 foot down. It calls for 2 foot, and it's like
2 by 2 by 2.
2 by 2 by 2 by 2. So there's one there. I think there's what, 7? How many is 12 or something like that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think there's 12.
Yeah.
I think there's 12 columns. But for instance, check this thing, man. This building is not going anywhere. This building is actually going to be rated for like a commercial use. So it's pretty much going to be a commercial building in my backyard, and it's going to be big enough to do all the work that I need to do. We also got our drains dug. They went ahead and taped them off so nothing gets in there right now, or no concrete gets on them, which is good. So whenever the concrete's done, they'll just rip that tape off. But check out our fall. We got plenty of fall on this thing, 4-inch pipe. Everything's sealed up really nice. Pipe goes all the way out to the end, back here. And we'll do a little drainage pit or whatnot and make it to code. I know you guys are gonna freak out, but we'll get it all done. And same thing over here. We got another drain on this side of the shop. So we got good fall here, and we made sure our drain is, I think it's an inch lower than the concrete floor, because we're gonna kind of slowly in every corner, in every direction. So when we push water with a squeegee, the water kind of falls into the drain, and it's not just gonna pull up around it. Drain there. Of course, rebar everywhere. Rebar. Our stands all the way around. If you guys didn't know, it's going to be a 40 by 50 slab, so 40 wide, 50 long. The building is going to come from here inwards, and then the last 10 feet is going to be a lean, or like a overhang. It's not a lean-to, but the overhang is going to be out on the front and I guess the gable side. We also are pouring a 4 by 8 slab on the back of this. We haven't boarded it up yet. We're going to board that up the morning of the pour. Probably going to have it somewhere in this general vicinity right here, a 4 by 8 slab, to where we can have an air compressor outside the shop so we don't have to hear it running all the time. And then with this extra metal, this roofing right here, we're going to build a little lean-to. This is the color of the roof. If you guys wanted to know, this is the color of the roof. It's the same color as my shed. We're going to have gutters around the shop as well, so we're going to have drainage for our water. We're going to drain our water back here, make sure it's to code. We can't dump it in the neighbors, of course, yard and all that good stuff. So we're going to be good there. But that's going to be the roof color, and that's what I'm going to cut up and make a lean-to off the, because obviously the shop blueprints don't add the lean-to in the back. So me and Jonathan were talking about it, like 4 by 4 posts, and then add the lean-to. Maybe enclose it on the side as well, so sideways rain isn't hitting it. Of course, LED lighting inside, AC inside, full water inside, 3/4 line is what we're running, so we have good pressure. And a sink, wash sink. Hey, stay tuned, guys. it's the next day, guys. We're getting the concrete poured today. 36 yards and 4 concrete trucks. We've already got 1 truck that's come through here. We got the back slab, the add-on for the compressor, and also the AC. I think there's gonna have to be some like AC box or something. I don't know what it's called, but the AC guy I work with told me that I need to probably put this outside on a pad. So we built this. It's a 3x8. So this should be wide enough for my lawnmower. It looks just about wide enough for my lawnmower, maybe. It might not be. We may have to weed eat right here, possibly. If so, it's not a big deal. But we got the pad here, and then the 40x50 here. And we're gonna have a smooth finish there. And I don't know if a brushed or smooth finish, I don't know. Really either or, it doesn't matter. I guess it could be brushed, it's outside, but I want the pad to be smooth. They got the J-bolts already in the concrete. When the concrete sets, they're actually gonna take out the wood and I think put the bolts and the nuts and washers down back on those bolts so that when I get those columns, it's all ready. I'll show you an exposed one right here that doesn't have concrete yet. So if you point down there in that hole, you can see those J-bolts. There's gonna be some pretty big columns. They're 2x2x2 footers. I guess 2x2x2 holes, I should say, and then 12x12 footers all the way around. So that's kind of how the process is looking and going. And of course we got our drains. You guys already saw that earlier on in the video. But yeah, pouring's gonna be done today. Back on the time lapse. We'll check back up with you guys here in a minute. awesome job. Their information will be down in the description below. Allstate Concrete. Steve and his crew did a phenomenal job. They didn't cut any corners with this one, and it shows. So you can literally see the reflection in this thing. It's so glossy. They did a really good job of smoothing that thing out. He went over it a bunch of times. I don't know if you can tell that corner, like the drain for the sink. You can literally see it in the reflection over there, and we'll hop over there in a second a little closer, but it turned out really good. Our channel drains are really good. He did them at an angle. He moved the concrete kind of at an angle in every direction to where when you squeegee water over there, it's gonna drain into those drains. We got to still take the duct tape off and do that, but the concrete's pretty hard. I mean, it's pretty much, we'll give it a few days, of course, and let it sit. If you shoot down the front, you'll be able to tell we had a slight angle done right here so that water, whenever water tries to get into the shop, it hopefully will just drain out on that slope. And also when we pull a truck into here, we don't want to hit no sharp angle or sharp edge. We also had them come right here with that little tool and do a nice gradual angle on this lip of the concrete so that we don't hit it and chip it or something like that. But you can barely even tell it's there, but it is there. It slightly angles for about probably a foot or so. But I'm really happy about that, and overall really happy with the concrete. Looks like a freaking cloud, man. So let's jump over in this corner. I know somebody may comment, oh, you shouldn't have ran your water under the concrete because what if it leaks? Hey, if it leaks, what we'll do is, if it eventually leaks, then we will cut it off right here and just run it on the side. But I did want it to be under the concrete, and I made sure my fittings were good to go and not leaking before I put it on the concrete. And there's only one fitting under the concrete, and where the electricity is running, that conduit, one, it's in conduit, but no water is going to get into that electricity. There's no possible way it can, because one, the fitting is way before it, and the way we set it up under the concrete, it's good to go. So we were concerned about water getting in our electrical, so that's why we did what we did. And the one only fitting, and it's on there, it's not going to leak. And then the rest of it's just a solid pipe, 100 foot, straight 100 foot of ABS. That's obviously brand new. The conduit also is protecting our electrical. We made sure that was all sealed up like crazy, so that's good to go too. It's under our frost line, which for my area is only 6 inches, but we actually put it 12 inches low. And we put a string in here, and it goes out the other side to where whenever we get our wires ran from the house, we got 2 breakers open on the house. We're going to do 220 and a 110. We'll pull it straight through, and we should have our wires come out this other end, so we should be good there as well. And check out these bolts. Also, another thing we did is we went around to all these bolts before the concrete dried. I don't know if you've seen it in the time lapse, but I went around and I cleaned all these threads so no concrete dries on these threads, and I don't have to end up cutting with an angle grinder these threads, because I don't want to have to cut the threads, you know what I mean? We had the back slab right here brushed. We had a 2x4 put in between so that when the siding comes down on that building, it's not having to go, you know, right on the slab. It can actually go right below the slab so that no water runs down the back of our building and gets into our shop somehow. So we want to make sure that no water possibly can get in. This back slab is going to be for our air compressor and our AC. So we are going with an AC unit on this thing, as well as insulation on the building. It's going to be 1,600 square feet utility space is what they call it, which is closed in. The last 10 feet we don't count that, but it's a total of a 2,000 square foot slab. The AC we're going to go with, we haven't decided the exact company, but stay tuned for that, as well as how we run this air compressor line. So stay tuned to the shop build videos. There'll be a playlist on my channel. There was trees here, ground, we had to remove everything. That was in another video, so go ahead and catch yourself up if you're watching this a little bit later on, so you can see the shop build series. There'll be a playlist on the screen. So in a couple weeks our building will be done. We talked to our contractor today that's building our building, and we'll be able to pick it up with a flat deck Gatormaid and trailer it here. Couple good buddies, and a contractor. I'm gonna have a contractor come out here and kind of point the finger and kind of make sure we're doing things safe and in the right order, and not get ahead of ourselves or behind, and keep us on the right path. So I am gonna have a guy that's put up a lot of these buildings come out here and kind of coordinate things. I think that'll make it go a lot smoother. So that's going to do it for the concrete work. Stay tuned for a couple weeks. We're going to be putting up our shop, our 40x50. It's going to be my first shop that I've put up, so stay tuned for that, because I'm sure I'm going to be making a lot of mistakes that I can hopefully save you guys from making. So smash the like button down below if you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you think about the shop and the concrete work. I think it turned out really good. Happy how it turned out. Shout out to Steve and his crew. They did an awesome job. So stay tuned, boys. Fat Tony, Mater, tons of things happening. The engine for Mater is showing up in the next 2 days, so stay tuned for that video. That reveal video might be not the next video, but the video after that. We'll see you guys then. Peace.